This is the If More Let's Divide podcast.
Yo, guys, Charlie, what they happen? Charlie, it be like what they happen. They talk at the beginning of every episode, oh. But yeah,
What they happen is the standard,
the
Bree.
standard, yeah, with the standard, Charlie, guys, what they happen? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. If More Let's Divide podcast. Charlie Fred, what a guan.
Are they hung?
You know, I was telling somebody this thing yesterday, right? And they thought I was telling lies. I was telling them that we actually don't meet to discuss what we are going to talk about.
Yes.
We just share. So usually I share notes with you regarding the guests that we are going to have on, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they know they believe. Like,
Why?
they're like, yo, don't we meet and be pre-recording to discuss what I'm
This
like,
is
nah.
grown men business, man.
We
Keep
just
growing for
bounce
that.
off each other, you know. Yeah, Charlie. Fred, Charlie, who do we have today?
Man, exciting conversation. Artist, peculiar human being. We were supposed to have a conversation with her last week, but
But Charlie,
fortunately the lights
ECG did their thing.
did their thing.
Yeah, but I'm actually so humbled and I appreciate, you know, that this thing is going to happen again, you know.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
Very
ladies-
gracious.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, an artist and a trans, you know, you might know her, dope music, so many initiatives going on, you know, from her circle. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Angel Maxine.
Yes, sir.
The last time you were here, the interview couldn't come on, and I was like, damn, we are not going to get you again. But Charlie, you were so easy with us, and you came through for us. So, Charlie, thank you for coming.
You already know.
Thank you for having me.
Charlie. I heard you were busy in the last, you know, few weeks working on this project.
Yes.
What project was it, and how did it go?
Okay, so it's just activists coming together to see the way forward for the community. So it was just queer activists coming together to, you know, share our minds, our opinions, what we can do to support ourselves, initiatives we want to take, people who need support, who support can be given to. So this is what I've been really.
So what was your role in this workshop?
Okay, so I'm an executive director, up and coming executive director for my own organization.
Hey, give it up.
Yes, so I'm trying to join the larger body. So I try to get, you know, I voluntarily join the meetings and, you know, other projects they do to show my visibility. And also, you know, I've done a lot of work with my community as well. So it's like all the time they call me to be there as a frontline activist. Yes.
Dope. Fred.
Yeah. So I know Mutombo was talking about you as an artist. I haven't, unfortunately, been introduced to your work at all, but I'm curious about what kind of artistry, like what's your work with, like in an artistic vein, like what work do you do?
Okay, so I am a musician and I am an actor. Like what any artist can do, I can do. But normally I use my platforms to spark conversations and create actions, you know, concerning things happening in my community. So normally that's what I do. I inspire actions against societal ills. So that is what I use my platform. That is what I do. And
Is that why you became an artist, or were you an artist before the activism?
activism has always been in my system. I'll say
In the blood.
it has been in my immune system. It has been in my blood. So it wasn't anything difficult. Like seeing myself as an advocate or an activist, like learning from the root. No, I've always been an activist since. And if I'm looking at the music that I used to do before then, even though people did not know me, it wasn't popular and all that, it was all, I was touching, sensitive issues that were difficult for people to really come out to express themselves or talk about. At that young age, that time, I was talking about all those things. So
How long ago was this?
okay, so I would say I actually started it around 2001.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in 2001. That's where I actually started. And
Making music.
yes.
Okay.
So I got motivated when I met a group called Triple M.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Triple M. And for me, I'd already known my identity. It's just that, at that point, there was nothing going on that people, no education, nothing is going on for people to identify themselves that this is who you are, this is this, this is that, this is that. But I already knew myself. And Triple M, their songs were domestic violence against women. They had a message, they had a concept, they had a theme. So seeing myself as an activist, naturally as a trans person, it motivated me. I at first I was like, hey, if I talk about these issues, sensitive issues, I might get backlashes. People might not like me because people don't like the truth, and it motivated me to actually have a stand on what I really want to do. So I tried my best to get in touch with this group and learned a lot of things from them, got really, really, really connected with them. Even like that was in 2001, going down the line before there was separation in the group and all that. But I am still with them because I I I saw the vision, I saw that, no, these are women who have vision. And in all my life, I have identified as a woman, and I felt more comfortable with them. There were other artists I could approach at that time, but I felt comfortable with them because they were also singing my rhythm. They were saying the things that I want to also say. And, everything just...
Triple M is a what? It's a hip hop group or what kind of?
They were singing. They were I
A
think
Hip Life.
a
There were
Hip Life
three.
group. Yeah.
Yes.
I think they were part of this competition.
Yeah,
They
I'll say
started like they were part of this thing. I do remember. Three girls,
the
right?
three girls.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
they did
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
awareness. They Castro.
Where are they now?
All of them. They are there. They are there,
Are,
but
are they still doing music?
it's Shega who is very active in the music, and she's still doing the
Oh,
music.
dope,
Yes.
dope.
That she was the leader of the
I mean,
group.
Fred wasn't in Ghana then, so I'm not sure.
I'm a little lost,
Yeah.
but I'll look them up. I mean, after the
Yeah.
podcast. So you've been an artist performing since 2001,
Yes.
and I think what obviously you live in we live in a society where it's a generally traditionally minded society in terms of the way that people look at things in general, right? So in you telling me about your evolution as an artist starting from 2001, how did you feel then being a part of like the society?
So I would say at that point, people like me were not really a problem to the society as it looks like now. Even though I had backlashes, I had people who didn't agree with who I really wanted to become or what I want to identify with or who I want to be, it wasn't like as scary as it is now at the moment. I always saw myself different. I always saw myself doing my things differently from the other artists that I saw. But at the end of the day, I felt valid, and that was the most important thing to me. I felt that I didn't see anything wrong with what I was doing. I felt, look, this somebody has to stand out. Somebody who is you can't continue hiding, and somebody has to stand out, and this is who I am. And for me, it's being an artist or being an advocate. It was just like a calling for me. At a point when you give up and you don't want to do it, that is where the edge even comes the more for you to do it. And it was just a journey for me from that year, like 2001 to now. It's been a very wonderful journey, if I'll put it. Yeah.
I mean, I've had a chance to listen to some of your songs, thanks to One Love, who introduced me to you. And your recent songs, well, I haven't heard songs from back then when you started, but your recent songs they are raw. They are straight up in your face, like with lyrics that are, quite, strong. You have this song which I actually love, Trumu Trubu, Ebi Wo Fie. Why do you feel that you have to go raw or hard with your lyrics? Is there any reason?
I think naturally I'm just a raw person. Yes. Yeah. I'm just a raw person. Yes. Even I think naturally I'm just a raw person, and I'm just real at what I do. So I say it as it is, because I feel beating about the bush will take a long time. Just say it straight and let people get the message, and that is it. Yes.
Would you call yourself fearless?
I'll say I'm fearless.
Or has there been many times where you have thought twice about something, doing something, like especially who you are? Like, have you thought twice, or you just do it? You just think and you just do it?
Being afraid is very normal. Every human being, no matter how tough you feel you are, there's one point in your life you become afraid. Sometimes I get afraid when I'm doing certain things, but at the end of the day, I am a very daring person, and I say to myself, hey, this is what I want to do. I keep having this vision, I keep having this thing, and if I don't do it the way I'm seeing it, it won't end up the way I've actually, seen how I want it to be. So for me, it's just been like that.
Yeah, cool. Let's go back into time a little bit, then we'll fast forward again. Where did you grow up? Who did you grow up with? Your schools, siblings, mom, father.
So actually, I was born in Osu. So I grew up around Osu, Cantonments, Laboni, all those areas. And at a point in my parents' life, they got separated. So we had to live with our father and move with our father to Tema. So I would say Tema is where I actually grew up as a teenager to adulthood in Tema. Yes. Yeah. So I have siblings. I have my parents. We are still, I have a beautiful
Are they still
family.
here? Are your parents still in Ghana?
Yes, they are still here. Yes. So I grew up around those areas before I moved to Tema to go to school in Tema. I went to Michelle Camp GSS because I lived around Michelle Camp.
Yeah, I know Michelle Camp.
Yes, and from Michelle Camp, I went to Ghana Secondary School. I completed in 2002.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so after Ghana's, there was this confusion because, fine, even though I appeared very effeminate, very a homely person, taking care of my siblings, taking care of the house, the chores, responsibilities, cooking and everything, it didn't mean I wanted to become a chef. or I wanted to become a caterer.
Yeah.
But your parents will not give you the chance to tell them what you really want and what you really want to do. So I had to do catering.
Oh, and
Yes.
so your parents forced you.
Yes, to do catering.
Oh wow.
Yes, they made me do catering because, and at that time, I had a very low self-esteem. I couldn't say no. I couldn't, as they say it, then, and they put a little fear in you, or they are a little hard, then I just succumb to it, and but I loved to do. I wanted to do radio, I wanted to do TV, I wanted to do journalism, I wanted to do law. That is what I really wanted to do, but I ended up doing catering. So, and I did well in it because of my nature, like naturally, that thing was inside me already. So I didn't, and I passed so well in everything. So I had to go to a catering school. Then from there, I moved to Koforidua, and I went to Koforidua Poly. And after Koforidua Polytechnic, there was a course in Legon for food safety and nutrition, and I went there to go and take that course. So after that, I wanted to work on board as a cook on sea.
Wow. Wait, so your mom basically steered your path?
I would say it's my father who steered
your father?
Yes, because I lived with my father.
Oh.
Yes. My mother also, because I could sew, she's a fashion designer, and I used to help her to sew when we were kids, and I'll be hemming, doing the buttons. I can sew. So she also said, I have to do dressmaking. And so the two people were going, but because my father had the higher, authority, so I had to do my catering, and I went to the catering school and did the catering school, even though that was not what I wanted. I had to force to love it, because at the end of the day, this is what I have done. This is what, So I wanted to go on the sea as a seaman, to, as a cook, as a steward. So I went to Maritime University.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, and I took some courses. You have to take some courses before. So I took 6 of their courses there before I was given the Seaman passbook and the certificates and other things. And I applied for the sea, and I got the job. So when I got the job, I wasn't able to go on the sea because I think 3 days for me to go, they realized that my passport will expire when I'm on sea, because it was a UK vessel. And it was just 3 days, and my father tried. That one, he tried his best. I got it on the day that I was supposed to travel, and it was it was such so much, and so I just lost that.
Your passport was what?
It was expired. It was expiring.
It would expire when she would
Be on the sea.
I'll be on the sea.
the passport would expire on sea or at sea.
Yes. Yes. So, and I can't renew it there. And this laws, and if your passport is expired, this blah blah blah. So I couldn't go. But when I didn't go, it didn't break me down. It didn't, So I started looking for jobs, and I got some jobs. I did a lot.
But
of
what's
work.
the typical cycle of when the ship can leave? And
they can be on sea for 1 year plus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you are just on sea.
You are just on sea.
Like I have some friends who do that, and I go like, wow, you guys try. Like it's crazy, but apparently, it's dope. You wouldn't even feel.
Yeah,
that
my uncle was a seaman.
I actually had the experience to go on the boat on the ship to actually have, like, it was just a West Coast one. Yes, after I lost this one, but so after I was doing my catering work, where the places I applied for attachments. After attachments, they didn't want me to go. They will employ me there, And I did so well in the catering and all that, but my love for the activism, for the music, could never go.
Yeah.
It couldn't leave me. It didn't fade. And I told myself that I used to read a lot, and I saw musicians, I saw certain artists, and I saw where they've gotten to and how some have ended and all that. And me, I love school. So I just said, okay, since this is not what I really want, but this is where they've put me, let me also go to school. At least, even if my activism and my music doesn't go for me, I have something to fall on. I don't want to be like, and my father took care of me very well. Like when it comes to school, he was ready to take me to school, but on what he wants for himself. So that's what I would say. So in it, I got good jobs, and the last job that I had, I worked at the National Ambulance Service. Yes, and I was working in their training school, and I was the head of the kitchen there, and I worked there for some years. And during that time, it was just like a calling. I couldn't function anymore. I couldn't do, I would say I couldn't, because, the job didn't give me the chance to explore. Because I was working in the village, in their training school in the village that's far from Accra, going to Techiman side, in Kinkenso. And, me, I love to come online to see what is happening, to update myself.
There was no internet.
And there's no network. You have to climb a tree and all these things. And I have to go to school. I have to go to the training school. Sometimes you'll be there for 3 months. You are not back home 6 months. And, and you don't find people who are like you, like mentally and all that. And it was like, I'm not, so, it's like when you have something you have a vision, you have to work towards it. So at a point, I had to resign and come home and find myself and find what I really want to do, and I started doing my activism. I started doing my music. In between all those years, I didn't stop doing the music because I was very vibrant in Koforidua. I created an entertainment team. I was on the radios all the time, organizing events, bringing up and coming artists together. I did a lot of things in Koforidua. Even in Koforidua Poly, I was on all the shows. And at that time, I was called Sexy Lagazi. Sexy Lagazi.
Sexy Lagazi.
Yeah, so if Sexy Lagazi is coming on stage, everybody wants to see what Sexy Lagazi is coming with. Either to come and the dancing techniques, I call it, my stagecraft, the dances, what I'm going to wear. And, I was just different from everybody. And people would be like, have you seen that person? It's a male who have turned to a woman. And it drew a lot of attention. So when it comes to shows, they will like to put me at the very bottom. So
the last
end.
Yeah.
So that when I come and perform,
that's all.
The show is dead.
Because if they put you at the beginning, everybody would leave after your performance.
Exactly. Yes. So I was always at the last, and it was a very beautiful experience there. Even though sometimes it was tough, I had homophobic attacks and situations, but I told myself the journey that I have chosen to take wouldn't be a very easy one for me, and I'd already psyched my mind that I'll have a lot of backlashes. I'll have a lot of people who will not agree to what I am doing. And everybody doesn't also have to be the same.
Yeah.
That is me. Because somebody is like this doesn't mean I have to be like that, or doesn't mean that I have to deprive myself of my real being, of who I am, to do what somebody else is doing. So I was just
Doing it.
doing my own
Yeah.
thing.
So you said so right now your father steered your career path in a way. Did any of your parents try to change you in any way?
So, in any way, as in,
Like, did they, because you said they were making you cook and all that, you know, in your home. Was there any time that like your parents, spoke to you to like do other, quote unquote, the manly stuff?
no,
Okay.
no. They just, they just saw me as a child who was just different. And that was it. There was no discrimination like that. They just saw me as me.
Yeah, because you know what, growing up, right? So the woman would have specific jobs that they would do, and the girls, sorry, will have specific jobs that they do, and the boys too would have specific jobs. So for me, for example, I would pound the fufu, I would weed, I would do all the hard, stuff, and my younger sister, or whoever was in the house then would do like the cooking and.
Funny enough, all my siblings were male.
Okay.
And I had a sister. But my sister is even more than a male. Yes.
Yeah.
And she's that tomboyish person.
Yeah.
She will never cook. She doesn't wash. She doesn't do anything. Like, she's just lazy. That's how I'll say. So, at the end of the day, being like the eldest in the house, I took up all the responsibility because I just felt like the sister, the arranger of the house, so I took everything upon myself. I was doing everything myself. Like, it just came naturally. Not that I was forced or anything, but it was just nature for me. Yes.
So there was a thing that you said earlier on about growing up, because I was trying to find context for how you have experienced Ghana. And Mutombo is asking questions along those lines as well. That did you, when you were younger, feel any type of way that led you to activism, or what inspired your activism? Because I'm obviously, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my throat today, but like we said, in Ghana,
You've been
if
given a blowjob.
Now, haven't you heard that if you give blowjob, you go to prison?
Yeah.
we will get there. Then all of them will be arrested. These parliamentarians. But your growing up felt regular. Like you didn't experience any type of opposition to who you were, or I'm trying to figure out what led to your activism.
Okay, so growing up, I never felt any opposition from home.
Okay.
From home, I didn't feel any way, but it was outside.
Okay.
Because people saw me different and they used to tease me a lot. Like Kojo Besia, Oba Berima, and they used to call me names. They used to bully me. They used to tease me a lot. And it came to a point that I had to also build a defense wall around myself to also fight back when they attack me like that. People actually gather to beat me.
Oh.
Because I felt different, because I was different.
Right.
Yes, I close from school, they are hiding in one corner, say, hey, you said what? We say, walk like a man, talk like a man. And this is my nature, and I couldn't help it. Like, I couldn't change.
This is like how old?
That's what's about, I was like 13 years.
In
to
school.
14
And these
years.
people were trying to tell you
like,
to...
you want to sell Bema and all that. I even had adults, they will bully you. They felt that I don't know, but because I was just different, and they
Did your
bully me
parents
along that
know
way.
that this was happening to you?
No.
You
they
never
didn't know.
told them?
I never told them. I never told them.
But at home, they were never like, "Oh, why are you behaving like this?" Or
No, my parents were never like, no. But when issues of people seeing me very effeminate, people cannot even tell my gender, stuff was going on, then it raised a lot of concerns with people around telling my parents that, hey, the way this your child is behaving there, you might end up like this, so she'll be like this, so hey, be careful, oh. You know, that kind of, like, people were now aware because I was growing and I was still the same. I hadn't changed. So it created awareness with, through my family, my my parents' friends and other relatives, making them aware that what this your child is growing up to, there's no change, and maybe I might end up like that, and that is what woke them up, like, but still I was just me. I was just the same. I was.
did they like try to have a conversation with you?
No.
Your dad
No.
never came up to you and said, "Oh, why are you
No,
this
no,
way?"
no, 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 no. And I always wanted to have the conversation with them. I always wanted to tell them that this is how I feel about myself. But there was no environment for that. African parents, your father is already like this in the morning. So you don't even know if he's angry, if maybe there's something happening with him, that kind of. And my mother is so super religious, and she will link it to religion and all kind of.
She never
things.
tried to pray for you or take you for deliverance or any
My
of those things?
mother even went to the point of taking me to TB Joshua.
Oh, wow.
Yes, for deliverance.
In Nigeria?
Yes, in Nigeria. Like twice.
Did
to
you go?
deliver me. Oh, yes, I went with her. I went because if you tell me that, okay, what's me, that I feel that this is my nature, this is me. If you tell me that it's spiritual and there's a pastor who can take it out, honestly, I am not happy. Because I am not happy that I will go out and people will be beating me. I'm not happy that I'll go out and people will be bullying me. I'm not happy that I feel I look very different from all the boys. I see the boys playing football and me, I want to go and play ampe. They have taken us to the shop to get some Christmas stuff. I'm running for the teddy bear and the pinkish stuff, and my brothers are going for the machine gun and all those things. Then they'll say, hey, and all those things. I wasn't happy. So if there's something that could deliver me, I was ready so that I will be the man they want me to be.
Sorry, how old were you when you first went to TB Joshua?
When I first went to TB Joshua, I think I had already grown.
Okay.
Yes, I that was around 2017.
Oh, wow, quite recent.
Yes.
So did you go out of respect for your mother, or you went because you really wanted a change?
One, I wanted to make my mother happy. Secondly, I wanted a change, but I knew that there wouldn't be any change because I know myself. I wanted that change. Honestly, if it was possible, I wanted it, but I knew that it is not possible. Nothing can change nature. It's not possible unless I want to pretend. And I can't pretend. Like, I can't. I can't pretend to my parents or to anybody and live somebody else's life, because that's the life I had lived. For me, I felt that growing up, I was trying to imitate somebody to survive the harsh, homophobic systems that we had. So it was just for me. So, how I found myself into activism is, I was confused that am I the only person like this on earth? Because I never saw anybody growing up
In
like
Ghana,
me.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I never saw anybody being effeminate, nothing. So it was a confusion in my head that, am I the only person like this? Is there something wrong? Did my mother do? Because maybe they'll say, oh, your mother did something, or your father did something, and now the curse is on them.
Right.
That kind of thing. It was all in my head. And there was nothing I could do. So when I grew up to a point, I used to run from home because I wanted to find my kind. I wanted to see somebody like me to affirm my validation that yes, I'm valid, that there are people like me. So I used to go online. That time I didn't have a phone, but I would go on to the cafe and go and type man, woman. A man who looks like a woman. Why do some men look like a woman? Why are some men born with features of a woman? I'll go and type on Google too. I want to understand. Then it will take me to one point, it will take me here, it will take me here. Then, so anytime I go to school, I will save my money to, when I'm coming back, I want to pass through the cafe to read about myself. Then I realized that there are people there. So I went to Accra. One festival. I didn't go with the intention of going to look for somebody, but when I went and I saw effeminate people, effeminate men dancing, winding, doing their things, and the things that I used to do in my mirror, or when I'm home, I dance that effeminate dance, even for my parents even seeing it. But it was nothing, and I saw people like me, and I was like, wow. So, like, I am real. So I am really not sick. I'm really not a curse. I'm really not a taboo, as I thought it was. Oh, so there are people really like me. So I got close to the people who look like me. And I realized that everything that I had also gone through, every feeling, they had also felt the same. They were like, I just felt like my life being played in front of me like this, seeing myself. And that is what affirmed me, like, no, there are people like us here. There are people like me that people, even if people know, people do not even pay attention to. And, in Accra and all these places, when they see Kojo Besia, when it's a party, because Kojo Besia people are the ones who will come and dance, who will come and entertain, who will come and do all these things. And I felt that even though I could dance and I could entertain and I could do this, there was something more to me than that dancing, than just, being the feminine and all those things and you're happy and no. I felt like there's a greater person out, aside that Kojo Besia, there's a greater person in the Kojo Besia. There's something else in this person. And that is what I harnessed. That is what I searched for in myself to become what I have become today.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That's quite profound. I mean, I think, obviously, I don't know if anyone who hasn't lived your experience can see the world through your lenses. So I mean, kudos to you for being brave in being yourself and trying to navigate that path. I couldn't imagine, what it was like living and still living through it. But for people who are still being educated about your lived experience, one of the things that you just talked about, it sounds as though in your community, a lot of times, you guys may feel like society is using you as a caricature, like for entertainment value, like you're talking about how they expect. I don't want to use that phrase because personally I think it's derogatory, but the name of, Kojo, whatever, they're using you for performing a particular role. And I'm hearing you say that you felt you were more than just that. And society was limiting you to, okay, you are this, you have this problem, you have this issue, come and perform. Is that like a foundation of why you're like invested in the activism?
No. Aside my life, of being a queer person or being a trans person, I just see that as just 1% of my life. My life does not depend on my identity or what I do or whatever. That is just like a little part of my life. My life is what like I have been chosen to do. My life is what I have grown, is what I have learned. My life is not about the limited version of a human being. So that is what I picked up. Me, you know, at that point, you know, there was no conversation around this thing, and queer people gave up on themselves, I would say, because people were not able to identify. And most people will not go to school, excuse me to say, because they are already confused. They are already battling with a lot of emotions about their identity already. Because if you want to go in the past, you see that most of the queer people, I would say, along the seaside, like, you know, in Accra and all these places, some of them are not really educated. They are just limited to their environment, and the things they see in the environment just influence them, and they're just okay. And for me, it wasn't just okay for me.
Okay.
It was like, aside this, I have a life. Aside this, I have gone to school. Aside this, I can read and write. Aside this, I am a chef. Aside this, I can create content. Aside this, I can speak. Aside this, I can motivate. Aside this, my life can be an example to another person who is just like me. So I just took the positive parts of myself. I didn't let that sexual parts or my identity parts limit me to what society will say. Hey, didn't we say it? Didn't we say that this is what they... No, that is not me. I looked at a broader vision, and I am looking at taking myself onto, you know, I want to prove to the society that our life is not just about sex. Stop sexualizing us. Stop putting the queer community, the context into everything is about sex, 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 sex. Straight people also have sex, 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 sex. Everybody have sex. So you straight people or heterosexual people's lives are not dependent on sex. As if unless you are a sex worker. And that is how the queer community is also. And that is what I want to actually let people know, that you can be a gay person, you can be a lesbian person, you can be a transgender person, and you can be a politician, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, you are not limited to going to dance and funerals and entertain people who just want to be entertained. You have a higher value than that, and that is what
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I,
No, go ahead.
I mean, I know how secondary school can be. Like, you need to have tough skin, especially my school, Accra. If you didn't have that tough skin, you would always go home crying. You know, so I can imagine what you went through in secondary school. But I'm trying to find out where I know with this topic, right, you can go politically wrong, you know, at most times. And I won't lie, quite recently, I knew who a trans was, right? But anytime I was supposed to use a trans man or a trans woman, I get confused. When I say a trans woman, that means that person was a woman and they became, but quite recently I had to, you know, put it in my mind that a trans woman is this, a trans man is this, right? What I'm trying to ask is, I know in school, you were not trans. You know, if I'm right, you were not trans. So when did you decide to go full on that, yes, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to represent?
Okay, so I would say my journey of being an artist actually was one of the things that actually made me affirm
Nice.
my gender identity, because I will go on stage and perform, and I will be beaten or things will be thrown at me because they
Wow.
are seeing an effeminate male, a effeminate person standing there, which they are confused about, or they feel that you are not normal, or they feel, oh, this is not it, and all that. You know, it was very problematic for me. And I won't also give society the chance to take away my joy, to take away my craft from me, because I will be bullied. So when I identified myself as a trans woman, that was when I said, okay, since this my artistic nature, or the music and art I want to do doesn't want to leave me, since it's a part of me and I can't help it, I cannot do it alone for myself and my family in my house too. I'll do it for people to see. And these are the same people who will come and bully me and attack me. Okay, I am accepting my identity. I am accepting who I am, and I will appear as my true self. I want to, you see, it's just like a mirror. I stand in the mirror and watch myself. And the image I see in the mirror is the image that is sitting in front of you right now. And that is the image that I built to keep the people out there. Because if I appear as a woman, I am a woman. If I tell you I am a woman, I am a woman and I am a woman. Trans women are women, and this is who I am. And I am coming out as a woman that I am, and not an effeminate male person.
Yeah.
Yes. So if this is what I will continue doing, if this is what I want to do, if I don't want anybody to kill my dreams with certain words, with certain things, then I will affirm my identity. I will not live somebody else's life or hide behind something else. This is me, and this is what society will see.
Okay.
This is how I want it to be.
So, Angel, I'm very invested in liberty for all. It's just been my general disposition. I can't remember where it came from. So I certainly appreciate the position of wanting to be yourself through and through, especially as an adult, and taking that stance to basically not let the world cower you into being other than how you see yourself. So that's understandable. The question in a larger society becomes when the conversation of woman and trans woman comes on the table, and in close context, if you're one-on-one talking to someone and respectfully, this is who they identify as, I don't think anyone should oppose it, be physical with you, be disrespectful with you, so on and so forth. But for the benefit of society, in regards to definitions, do you find any issue at all with the idea, purely intellectually, that trans women and women have no separation or demarcation between them?
As I said, trans women are women. And trans women are not dragging anything with anybody. So trans women are women. No matter how you see it, trans people will still will identify as women, and that is it.
I understand that. I think I'm asking a more um, a harder question in the sense that when we live in a society that we have to have definition and consensus
Okay.
based on commonalities, things that we identify independently of the subject itself, then self-identity is within context. It's your own. You have agency. You can identify as you please. As a full-blown human being with the right to, you can. But when you put things on the table for all of us to consider, the question that those of us, I'm speaking for liberal people, at least up until the point I identified as a liberal person. I don't know what the phrase means anymore. But for people to be able to exist as they choose to, and also not have overlaps in how we define things in society. Saying that trans women are women, I think, is a political statement, and it's fine. But the essence of saying trans women are women also has implications. Those implications are what I'm asking the question for, is that if independent of, because I'm never going to walk up to you and say, oh, you're not a woman. That's, I have no interest in doing that. But for people, society, community, governing bodies, whatever the case may be, the necessity for demarcating gender, saying that there are 10 men in the country and then 10 women in the country, or 10 men and 12 women, there's a purpose for it. So if in that vein, we say trans women are women, and therefore all of the implications that come with that is, I think, some of the conversations that we have been having as to how the biological differences generally between men and women creates disadvantages for women sometimes if they're forced to live in competition with trans women. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that. I mean, I get the trans women are women, what it's inspiring that statement. But I'm also asking if, as a compassionate person, as somebody who has lived your experience and seen the world through your eyes and all the struggles that you've been through, can you understand, or what do you think about the idea that women and trans women are beginning to have to compete for the same space?
Okay, so I won't say women and trans women are competing for the same space. I think things are evolving and things are changing. At first, we'll say before women were able to fight for their rights to also be heard in the society, there was that saying that the woman's place was in the kitchen. But now the woman is in the parliament house. The woman is the boss of an entity. The woman is an outstanding person. And I think as time goes on, that's the thinking of people feeling that trans people want to take that. That's why you see, I said that education has to go on because of the kind of mindset people have for the queer community. You understand? People have seen the queer community in a different light, in a different way. But the community as well also means no harm. Trans women, I feel, or I think, like for me, if I want to use myself as an example, I am not in any competition with any woman. I am not dragging any space with any woman. I respect who every woman is, no matter how they identify themselves with or what they identify themselves with. And I think it's a matter of time. As time goes on, conversations like this were not there before, and as time goes on, I think everybody will know their spaces, everybody will know where they belong. There will be no sentiment, there will be no like this person is coming to take away my this and that, because the thing with women are also feeling that, because I said the queer community is just sexualized, it's all about sex and all that, then I've had that thing before, as you're saying that, oh, trans women are here to snatch our boyfriends. Trans women are here to take our positions. Trans women are here to take our husbands or to destroy our homes or this and that and that. But I feel if you're a woman, you're a woman. You are who you are. And you just have to do better. Yes, that's all.
So,
Talk to
okay. Part of the conversation that maybe is not very alive in Ghana yet, but as is happening in the West, and in a whole other conversation, maybe another time, we can talk about how easily we are influenced by Western ideals, Western, culture, and Western forms of education. A lot of the trans movement or LGBTQIA++ literature, intelligentsia, intellectual thought is coming from the West.
I don't believe so.
The current literature as we know it, and the definitions of cisgendered and all of those nuanced literature is Western based.
So for me, if you have something in your country and you cannot identify it and put a name to it or work around it to become yours, that is why the West will always come to tell us what to do here. Queer people, for me, queer people have existed. Queer people have...
No,
have
I'm not.
been
So
here.
I was even getting to a different question. I'm not denying the existence of
Yes.
queer people at all in our community. What I'm saying is that the language, the policy, the activism, the agenda is being set by the West. That's just a fact. The agenda for...
You mean the labels, the tags?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All of the verbiage and the language and the activism is... The agenda is set by the West.
But I think English is from the West.
Yeah.
Yes,
language
that
is from
that
the
is
West.
also...
Everything that's like languages are from the West. Interpretation, everything is from there. So if we as Africans cannot also come up with our own,
Yeah.
we will still
So
be
we-
depending
we
on
did
the
have
West.
our own, but that's...
so
I
that
don't-
goes
That
back
is
to when you said you didn't want to use the term Kojobisia because you feel it is derogatory.
It is derogatory.
Kojobese is an African word.
Yeah,
But it's a derogatory
just
term.
It's just that the intent of you using the Kojobese
Yeah.
makes it derogatory.
It was never intended to be a term of endearment in our cultural setting.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think I'm focusing you guys on the wrong thing, because I wasn't trying to have a conversation about whether the West influences us or not. That's quite obvious. We're sitting here speaking English. That says enough. What I was trying to ask was that a lot of things are happening rapidly in the West that are changing the dynamics of how identity applies in the real world. And for us in Ghana, it's not quite here yet, but some of the things that have come up in recent activist conversations, for instance, the movement has suggested ideas that they don't want to call breast anymore. They want to say stop breastfeeding. They don't want to say the word mother. They want to say the word mom. You should say birthing people. You should say chest feeding. You should now neutralize spaces so that, fully grown adults, there's no empathy for the thought process that a mother who's raising a young daughter is not comfortable with bathroom space being shared with their young daughter, for the looseness of the definition of womanhood. Because as we speak now, transitioning is not even a requirement to become a woman anymore. I can wake up and say I identify as a woman tomorrow in my full-blown stature as I am and be a woman. And in the West, I have to be allowed in the spaces that are exclusively women's spaces. My question is going down to that. Is there any part of you intellectually, because you sound way more intelligent than most people I have interacted with, is there a part of that intellect that says, wait a minute, there is legitimacy to this fear, the same way that you felt fear in your life? Can you extend it to a mother who's not aware and understanding, or fearful of people who would arbitrarily use the fluidity of womanhood to enter women's spaces and then do wild, crazy things? Even if it happens once, one is too many. Is there a space for that in your thought process?
I think what queer people can do, heterosexual people can also do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, the one thing that I want people to actually understand is that, for me, as an individual, I don't see the difference of being a queer person or a heterosexual person. It's just the identity that differs. And I cannot impose something on you, or I can't impose something on him. You are you, and nobody can also impose on me. It depends, for me, the situation at which maybe I find myself at that moment could make me maybe, align to something. But I don't think anybody can impose that, this is what is going on and this is how it has to be and it should be you. I think people should just be allowed to be themselves. People should just allow to just do them, but like guarded. That is it. For me, I keep saying that my younger self, if I've had conversations like this, if I had known people, if I had understood the journey, if I had understood myself, maybe I would have been a whole different person altogether for now. You understand? So I feel that this is an educational thing we are doing. We are still educating people and empowering people. For me, people's differences should just be, nobody can impose anything on you that by force it has to be this and that, unless you give yourself the chance to. If any man comes to you and say we want to have a lap dance with you and you're a heterosexual person, they can't force you to do it with you. You can't be forced to.
The sexual
certain
aspect
spaces.
of it in Ghana, obviously, I think that's never been my concern, because as a society, people do in the dark what they do in the dark all the time. Nobody has a microscope or a view into people's bedrooms and knows how they have sex, why they have sex,
Exactly.
what they have sex with. That's just you being excessively concerned with other people's personal lives that you shouldn't be. So that's never been a concern of mine. It's still not. And I think those of you out there who are worried about random, people who are not heterosexual, queer people coming up to you to harass you or whatnot, I don't think that's the assigned nature of queer people. They are not violent because they are queer. They are not looking to sleep with every guy. They may not even be attracted to you for all you. I mean, they're not. Attraction is not like, just because I'm gay, I want to stick it to every guy that's walking by.
Yeah.
So that's a very silly conversation.
Yeah.
That's class 2 kind of thought process. What I am, and I'm actually very grateful. When Mutombo told me that you were gracious enough to accept the invitation, I was humbled by it, and I was also thrilled by it, because I think in a space like Ghana, for you to be brave and bold to show your face and live in your truth is commendable. I mean, if we're contextualizing it. But it's also very necessary to have conversations with people who have elevated their minds like you have to where it's reached, with all the education that you've given yourself, with all the experience that you've given yourself, to be able to have a real conversation where it's not, people saying, you're transphobic or you're this, labeling each other. I'm literally trying to have a conversation where it takes into consideration, because this law that this guy is parading around in Parliament, trying to shut down the LGBTQ movement in Ghana and trying to box you guys in or trying to make you feel like, okay, we're trying to put a lid on this thing before it gets out of hand. There's an element of it that's the class 2, class 1. If you see a guy wearing lipstick, we're going to arrest him. I mean, those nonsense parts. The truth of the matter is, as an activist, just trying to point out to you, so maybe you guys put in consideration your activism, is that I've speak to parents and people who are not part of the LGBTQ community all the time. The fear that they have is not, oh, they're going to come and rape me, or they're going to come and try to have sex with me, or they're going to be having sex anywhere they like, or they're going to be too free in this society. Part of the genuine fear is indoctrination of their younger ones to see life a certain way. And the argument has been made that, everything is social engineering, right? So you have the way that, because gender, when we talk about gender itself is emanating from biological sex. I.e., if you say woman, the idea was that it's a grown adult female who was expected by society to behave a certain way according to their base biological dispositions. Women are more caring, women are more nurturing, yada yada. And then society assigned certain roles to them, and it evolved to have the complete definition of what womanhood is perceived as. So in the process of redefining it, as is happening now, people in their traditional values are worried and scared that if you can't teach their traditions and beliefs, then why is it okay for your traditions and beliefs to be taught to their children and being mandated in our educational spaces, in our schools, so on and so forth? And from your perspective, I'd like to know what you think about that.
So, for me, I don't see why some parents should be really afraid that the syllabus in Ghana, is it written in Ghana or is from outside?
Outside, yeah.
Why can't Ghanaians also write their syllabus?
Probably don't have the capacity to.
So then you don't. For me, if you don't have the capacity to, doesn't mean that you should accept everything. That is it. Okay. If you don't have the capacity to, doesn't mean you should accept everything. Because for what I know is, even when you go to your school or whatever school you've gone here, even when you travel outside again, you want to live there, you have to go back to school again.
For certain professions, yes.
Yes, for certain professions. Yeah. So you don't, if you have a syllabus which you think that it doesn't align with your culture or your values, it's, for me, I think it's a dialogue that you have. It's not anything that becomes like an argument or a fight over it. It's just a matured way of sitting down and also coming up with, okay, this is also our values in Africa. This is what we also do here. The syllabus has to align with our beliefs and our culture. And you find these same people also taking their kids to schools in Europe, to America, to whatever. And you want your child to learn to be an African. You want your child to the syllabus to suit your African culture. But you're taking your child to school in America. You've taken your child to school in Europe. Why doesn't your child also stay here? And also, because people go there and they see things and they also bring it here. And that's how they also come here and they see things here and they also take it there. Yeah. So it's, for me, I feel it's a back and forth. People are just stressing themselves so much with all this educational system and all these things. And the world is changing. Things are evolving. if at first it was a man and a woman, now we are realizing that there are other people who are also born different. There are also people who feel this way. There are people who also identify themselves as this. So it can't be the same thing that they were teaching in 1940, and in the things will keep changing, and there will be amendments all the time. Like all the time, there's something new that we see, and for me, that is how the society will also
So
grow up to be.
you look at it as a natural evolution of the dynamics of society changing, people
Yes, for
getting
me, I think it's just nature, and it is something that was supposed to be tackled from onset, from the beginning. It is something that was supposed to be nurtured from the beginning. At this point, people have now realized, people now know themselves. People are now trying to actually learn, to know who they are. They want to understand. Now things are coming out. People are also reading. If somebody sitting somewhere was feeling a way which they felt was not valid, now somebody also feels the same way. Not only in Ghana, in certain places, people will share their experiences. People will share their lives. You are there and you see that, this is how I used to feel a certain way. Now people are they want to really know. They want to understand. So people will now research and do everything because look, there are so many people there who are confused. There's so many people. When I show you my inbox, I have people like from married men and married women and name it, coming to my inbox to tell me, you know what, I've always felt this way, and I have hidden it. I didn't want anybody to know, but you coming out to say this and that has made me remember something that, I wasn't bad anyway. I was valid, and what I was feeling was natural. Look, there are people who, like me, that my mother was taking me to the churches and all that. It has destroyed a lot of people. Absolutely. Where they would have gotten the right help that they really needed. And if you look at all these things, it boils down to all this religion and all these things. Today, this pastor is coming out to say this. They are influencing people. I don't want to say in a negative way, but there should be a pattern that, you can go through and channel through. Let's say if a pastor comes to the church, and the church consists of so many people.
Right.
There are gays, there are lesbians, there are straight people, there are armed robbers, there
all
are
types of people in the
everything
church.
They are in the church, but you can't see, you don't know, so you can't see. So if a pastor comes to the church today and preaches a very homophobic preaching and says things that, if a gay person sits down there, the next thing they are coming out of the church is they are triggered with suicidal thoughts because of what they've heard in that church. Yeah. That is the problem. For me, that is the problem. Because people listen to you. When everything ends for people, the only place they run to is the church. The place they run to is the pastor. And if the pastor is also pushing me away, if the statement of this pastor is telling me something else, then you don't have anybody to now actually confide into again. Because where your hope is actually finished for you, and that is what caused the confusion. The statements, there should be an environment where people will learn how to speak that won't affect somebody. Look, I have sat in the church with a lot of confusion in my head some time ago in my life, that I entered the church and I was the topic of the church, and I wanted to commit suicide at the end because of the things they said to me. Because there's no structure that comes with the way of handling people, that with the society in which we live in expects that people will not be like you, but you find these people in all the spaces that you come into. You'll find gay people everywhere, in the banks, in the schools. Your kid could be taught by a gay teacher, and it's not a label or anything that, so it comes from I'll say it's something that should have been tackled from the beginning, and know that these people also exist. There are these people who also identify as this. There are some males who are naturally born like female, and they are also like this. Why is the attention is not given to these people until you see these people in their worst state? Then you want to come and also condemn them, and you are not, you are not creating avenues for these people. Then it makes that person becomes a different person altogether.
So, you said trans women are women, right?
Yeah.
Our first episode, it was with Sister Deborah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've listened to it or watched the video on YouTube. But
Not really listened, but she told me.
Okay, cool. So there was this point where we spoke about sport, trans women and cis women. I don't know what's your take on that. Do you think trans women should partake in women's sport or female sport? And also, we had two people from our Instagram and Twitter who asked the same question. Shout out to Perry and Mame Efiba. They asked, a similar question. So what's your take on it?
Okay, for me, I would say, as being a trans woman, no matter what you do, your original identity still stays with you. To just being very honest, your original self, no matter what you do, your mind does not change. Who you are does not change. Your thinking. And I would say even trans women are smarter, I would say, because some trans women still think like men, because that is who they are.
Yeah.
Yes, and if it comes to the sports, maybe trans women cannot do all the sports, but there are certain places they could also be identified in that they can be put there.
So are you saying they should, like, for example, like the Olympics should have a special, category for trans?
Trans people are now visible, and trans people now exist.
Okay, so you think that there should be...
so then if trans women cannot identify as women in women's sports, since trans people are also in the sports, they should also be given that's also space.
That I 100% absolutely agree with.
Actually, yeah.
Yes.
Dope.
It's just
Everybody
as simple
deserves
as
to
that.
be able to partake fully
Exactly.
in life.
Yes.
Do you get peeved or do you get annoyed when someone uses the wrong pronoun for you?
If I'm walking on the street like this, the pronoun is my pronoun. Nobody will call me a he on the street, unless somebody who knows me, like from back, will be, hey, Wunye, is it you? Oh my God! I have a cousin who still tries to provoke me by calling me my name and still like that. But
Are they being playful or are they just being an asshole?
they're just being an asshole. They just want to tell me that I know you. This is who you are. You can't tell me that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that. But for me, at first, I used to get a little
Angry.
angry, but right now, I feel that people just need to be educated. If you call me by this, I just have to sit you down and make you understand why you shouldn't call me like this. I just have to, it shouldn't be something of a fight or an argument or, no. I just have to. And if I tell you and I feel that you just want to just be who you are and just want to just provoke
Be
me and just
disrespectful,
be
yeah.
disrespectful, I
Yeah.
just
Cut you off.
cut you off is finished. I will not come and argue with you to force you to
Yeah.
call me a man or a woman or whatever.
Time no day.
Being
Time
a
no
man
day.
is valid. Being a woman is valid. I am very fluid. It's just that I identify as a she, her, and hers, but I am very fluid in because you knew me as a male and you are seeing a different person, and it's valid for you to call me that. But when I come to you and educate you and make you know who I am, it should be a point that you also respect
Yeah.
and understand that, okay, this is who I am and this is my identity. Like in my school, Ghana Secondary School, like we have a WhatsApp platform that most often I used to go there and argue. We used to argue there a lot about myself because my schoolmates. I remember when I went to school at first, I was taken to the girls' dormitory because that should tell you how
Really?
it was. Yes, I was taken to the girls because they couldn't tell my gender,
Wait.
and my name was my name still.
Yes, I was gonna ask. So they didn't tell your gender by your name and even by what you were wearing,
You see,
your uniform?
when I went to the school at first, you are wearing mufti. So I'm wearing my jeans, trousers, and a shirt. And there are girls who have also come newly to the school, who has also come on admission on that same day, who are also wearing jeans and a shirt. And they just talk like, it's just the voice. It's just my voice and how I look like that was just it. They didn't even look at the name. So when I went there and I saw all the girls, what will I do? How can I say this? So I went to the house mistress and I told her that, I am a male, I'm not a female. What shows? So they have to naked me.
Wow.
What?
Oh yes, to be sure that this is it.
Jesus.
Yes. I have gone through that so many times that people do not believe that
Wow.
it's like this. They have to force. When I went to the girls' dorm, the boys' dorm now, they had to force to make naked me to be sure that it's true. Because, when I went, I was shy to bath with the boys because I'm seeing myself as a woman. Even though I have a penis like them, I'm seeing it's difficult for me to come out bare-chested and all, like it's like, because a woman will not come and stand outside in the street like this with her bare chest.
Yeah.
And that thing
Unless
was
some of my aunties in Gamashi.
who do not really care. Yes.
Yeah, they don't give a damn, Charlie.
Yes. But I couldn't. I can't come out like that.
Wow.
So I used to bath at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. because I have to bath first before everybody will come. And the day that I will miss my time of bathing, I won't bath. I will wait till when class is over. That time, nobody will come and bath, and I will come and bath.
Yeah.
So it took a long time for me to
Adjust.
blend,
Yeah.
adjust with the men in the dormitory. And the day I was upstairs and I had a classmate downstairs. So when I went to bath, he said, "Hey, as for today, dear, what happened? No, I said, I overslept too." So just my response to that, people who have not seen me yet start shouting, "There's a woman in the boys' dormitory."
Wow.
And they came to catch me to the cubicle of the prefect to naked me to see if it's really
True
that I'm a boy or a girl. So they bullied me a lot because they wanted me to become a boy. Because, when you're in school, they say homo, like you are this, you
Yeah.
are a first year. They actually tried their best to change. Oh, they even got me a girlfriend. I remember so much. Like they tried to, but it didn't.
You went to a mixed school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ghana's was a mixed school.
Ghana's
Yes.
is a mixed school.
Okay.
They tried, but
Nice.
it didn't. And they call me Esmeralda when I was in school because that was at that time, that was one telenovela.
Esmeralda.
Yes, so that is how they used to call me in school because of my calm nature and everything. But I was that person who was every time on entertainment, I'm there, I'm dancing on the stage, I'm doing this, I'm helping one way or the other, doing everything. When it comes to entertainment stuff, I always wanted to be part. I always wanted to be there like that. So I came back to my group and told them, I said, you remember? And some of them were not really surprised because they had seen me. Like when I was in school, I used to have my powder and my lip gloss. And when I'm coming, I'll put my powder on my face and my lip gloss. And we used to call something scarfing. I will also scarf my hair. Like how other women will also come to school.
Yeah.
Yes, I have my mirror in my bag. Small time, I will look and check if something is
Everything's in
shifting.
place, yeah.
The hair. I was like that till I finished my school, and
Nice.
it was like that. Even though I went through all those things, I can't leave the school too. This is me, and they lived with me, and it was like that.
Talking about your mate stripping you naked, or your senior stripping you naked. I have asked someone about some of the experiences that you have gone through. They told me of one incident where you were locked up in a room and you had to escape through the roof.
Yes.
I also heard of stories where like the taxis or the cars they'll drop you off, maybe the motorway or something. Yeah, can you share some of these experiences?
Okay, so
especially with the one that you were locked up in the room and you went through the roof.
Yes, so with that one, growing up, you have the edge of you want to understand who you really love or who you are attracted to. You can't tell, are you attracted to a male, you're attracted to a female, you love everybody at the same time, and it's some way for you. And you see, queer people, one thing I will say is we care about people who show us the least love and concern. That is one thing in the queer community. If you come out and show me love, you show me care, I can give my whole life to you. That is how it is. So this is somebody who had chatted me up and showed me love, showed me care, made me understand I'm so special. I am, who send me money, who, I have found a friend. Oh, this is a friend that I found, and this person tells me, oh, come and visit me. Come and see where I live. Come and visit me and all that. Honestly, the day I was going, I was very scared. Because I have never visited anybody in their house before. Like, I'm not that kind of person. I am a very home person. If you want to see me, come to my house. I will never come to your house. That is me. So this person was able to lure me to come to...
This is a guy, I'm assuming?
Yes, a guy,
Okay.
yes. Was able to lure me, to come to their house. And when I got to the area, it was around that Achimota, I've forgotten, it's a long time, a Christian village, that area there. But when I got to the area, I stood there, like waiting for this person to come and pick me from the place. But, my mind, I already know about the experiences of the queer people, where people will lure you and attack you and beat you and all those things. I know all those things and it's in my head. But because this person has also showed me so much care and all those things, I thought this person would be different. So I went. Later, somebody came that, oh, the person has asked them to come for me. And I called and said, oh, yes, I've sent somebody to come for you. Now we were going and I realized that, the way this person sounds like to me, and this area is not where, for me, I thought that I will have to come and meet them. But, well, I just went. Then they took me to some Zongo B in some corner that the person said I should come and I should wait for them there. I'm like, I was calling, are you not coming? I'm waiting now. I was now getting claustrophobic. I was getting scared, So he came. And they took me to a room. Then they started attacking me, started abusing me. Oh, you're a man and you want to be... And at that time, too, I wasn't like this, so I was appearing male, like normal, yes. And they started attacking me, beating me up, and all that, and they locked me up in a room. And they said they were going to come. They were going to come back. They took all my things from me, that they were going to come back and all that. And I was there in the room I spent like 3 days inside there. Yes, all alone. And so I was getting tired, like weak. And they would just come and abuse me. And they would just go. And, I didn't know, I couldn't contact anybody at that point. Who am I calling? No phone, no nothing. And luckily enough, the room was like a room that, a place that was leaking and the roof is bad and all that. So I stood, it was, this kind of Zongo room, the ceiling is so short that I'm tall. So when I jump, I can hit.
Yeah.
So when I hit it, I saw the thing was rotten. And the thing just opened like that. So I used my leg to chuck the window side. And my head hit the ceiling. And I hit the ceiling like this and the top opened. And I jumped up of it and fell down from the back like that. And it was just a bush behind me, so I was running, and running to find somebody, just to get some. It was in the night. I was trying to find somebody, running, and I came to the road side, and I saw a car, and I stopped the car, and I said, shouting, somebody wants to kill me. Somebody wants to kill me, because that was the only thing I could say at that point. And the person put me in a car and brought me to the roadside. And I took a taxi from there and I went home. And that time, I went to one of my sisters who really understood me, because right now I didn't want to go home. When I go home or I go back or I tell somebody, they will now say, hey, you went to there to go and have sex with the person, or you want to go and sleep with the person, or it will just be linked to this same sex, which was not really my intention and all this. So I just...
You wanted to go to a place that you felt safe.
I felt safe first. So after it, and I went back home, I never told anybody, because I knew I would be judged. I knew that instead of maybe, I would say, in quoting, a good home, I've run home and this has happened, they will take you back, they will go and report to the police, and you have to take the police to the place, they will scout us for the people, you give, and all that. I knew that nothing like that will happen. And even if I go to the police today to go and report, the police will not listen to me. They will not listen to the crime that have been committed. They will now dwell on my sexuality, on my identity. That is the only thing the police will look at, and not what the harm that has brought me there. So it just died off like that, and I just live with that. And it was something that traumatized me, that made me become afraid.
3 solid days.
honestly, I got afraid of men, the gender, men. I felt like a woman who has been raped, who is now scared of getting close to a man. That is the trauma that came with that incident that I had. And to date, sometimes I'm very scared to be alone with a man whom I don't know in an enclosed place. To date, that thing...
It's still...
Then should traumatize. You were traumatized.
Yes,
so.
it still bothers me to date that even if I'm alone with another man I don't know...
Have you ever bumped into this person?
No, I haven't.
And that was the first time you were seeing
Yes, that
him?
was the first time, and I haven't seen that person again.
So you guys met on social media?
Yes, on social media.
Gee.
On social media that I met the
There's
person.
some
and
crazy
all that,
people
and
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why you would just, if you don't like a certain type of person, why would you go out
leave
of
them
it
alone.
and
Like
lure
they are
them
somewhere,
out,
you are somewhere, and you call them into your
lure
space.
them and then try
Like,
to like
it's
abuse
so
them.
crazy.
And
That's
it's the
crazy.
reality. It's the reality on ground. That is what is happening right now with this hula baloo of this LGBT bill going on and all that. This is what people are doing, luring innocent gay people. Some gay people do not even know about the bill that is happening. They don't even know. They have not even heard. They don't even know that there's something like this going on. And these people there are just on social media chatting you, making you feel valid, making you feel accepted, we love you, like you. Look, they can even go to the point of sending their penises to you.
Wow.
Just to get you to just abuse you. And it's I'm telling you, it's the reality on ground, and it's happening right now. It happens as I'm telling you. It's going
So
on.
are they, I don't want to be too graphic, but are they luring you to try and sleep with you, like forcefully, or
They are
just...
just luring you to beat you.
To beat you up. Yeah.
Just to beat you up.
So that what will happen?
They just
Maniacs.
It makes them happy.
I don't know if you would also want to talk about this, but I also heard that a policeman
I'm not saying you go biz that
one time he hit on you.
Oh yes, plenty.
Oh, oh wow.
Oh yes, plenty of them.
Don't you think that they are also luring you?
These are people who are able to tell me who they really are. These
Oh.
are people who are able to open up to me, to tell me that, hey, forget that I'm in a police uniform or I'm a police. My identity is not the police. Who I'm attracted to is not my profession. My life is not my profession. That aside my profession, I am who I am. And they are able to relate to me because I am an openly person and I understand them. Yes, so I have met people in various places, and I've learned to understand that who you are is who you are. Your job does not change you. I have pastors, I know pastors who are gay people, and they come to me and all that, and I don't throw them away. I don't sack them, because they're also human beings who are also trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, so it's just like
Dope,
that.
dope.
Yeah.
Fred.
Honestly, I just want to, I guess we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to say that in all my conversations with people who are activists taking a stance on this issue, you've been one of the most insightful, if not the most insightful that I've spoken to. And I think your perspective on things for everyone is plain to see. I think you're a lucid person who is able to state exactly how you feel. And there's a lot of compassion that I have, not that I never had, but I have gained for your lived experience and people who are living the same experience as you. And I hope that society finds a way for us to all equally coexist without having to oppress the other. Like, if there are spaces and lanes created so that you can live your life as you see fit, then that is my hope for your community. But I think I want to ask, because I'm imposing my thoughts on you now, I want to ask what your vision is, what you would like to see happen for your community, for the people that you have around you, and support the cause that you're fighting for.
So for me, I want people to rather harness the positive things in the community and not just look at sex. That is my problem. People sexualize the queer community, and the queer community is not about sex. There are so many talented people in the queer communities, like me, myself, as I'm here. Somebody could identify me not based on my sexuality or my identity, but what the positive energies, the positive things that I have in me to bring out. You can find somebody who could, let's say, you can find a drug addict, excuse me to say, and you can reform that person. You can find somebody and you can make a positive impact, bring something positive out of that person, and that is what the society should rather focus on. Bringing the queer people into the spaces to make them feel loved, to let them have that sense of equality, so that they can also, spread themselves in other areas. Because if you just talk about queer people in sex, sometimes I always say that the things that people say about us or say about every human being works. If you have a parent who from childhood have told you that you will suffer, you will not become anything better in future, it has effects. For me,
Words are powerful.
Words are powerful. So why don't we channel those words into positive words to help people who, if you feel that this person is on the right path and you can't change them, you draw them closer. You actually identify what you can help out of that person. And it will change the society, it will change the queer community. Just everything has just been about sex. Why don't we talk about the beautiful things they are also doing out there? Why don't we talk about the wonderful fashion designers we have there, the makeup artists who are there, the creatives who are there, who are also in the queer community? Maybe they are not identifying themselves, but some of them, one way or the other, we might know them, or we might, Why don't we look at that part of the human being than rather looking at the sex? I think the queer community is more than that. And if attention is given, like I'll say, those people talk about gay people and this and that, but I want to ask, is there a day that somebody has drawn one gay person close to them to actually sit with them, have a conversation with them, try to understand them, try to know them, try to encourage them, try to see what actually they can bring out of this person? No, it's just what people have said that have stuck in the minds of people. Those people who are even making the bill, ask them, how many of you have even come close? Like, okay, fine, we are making a bill to criminalize these people. You're making a bill to criminalize the people you don't even know, because you don't know them. The only thing you are thinking about is sex. And you who is making that bill, you also have sex in many ways, in different forms, that nobody even know. But why are you not trying to, that is why people say, oh, why is it that heterosexual people do not go around to say, I'm a straight person, but it's only queer people? If you stop talking about queer people and stop identifying them, they also stop identifying it. Because we are all human beings. What I could look as straight as the society wants to look like. But when you enter the room, I'm the one who raised the legs. How will you know? That is it. Yeah. I would say we have people who are married with, like you see them, they are, hey, this is it. But they are even in love with another male somewhere.
Or in
they've-
love with another. That's a real thing.
Exactly.
That
You see,
people are living double lives.
yes. Exactly.
I know in a big part of America's like cultural history, they were, especially in the black community, they were living double lives, and they were going out there. That's the word down low came from.
Exactly.
The word down low is because they live in double identities. I mean, I have no problem with adults living their lives as they see fit, and I've always said, as an adult, you're allowed to make those decisions for yourself, especially things that concern your intimacy and whatnot. The only stance I've taken up is about children and trying to blur the lines and so on and so forth. But I think we've had a very
Cool, Charlie.
productive conversation. So thanks for
Angel
sharing your
Maxine,
time.
thanks for coming through. It's been an insightful
Yes, sir.
conversation.
Thank you.
And Charlie, we appreciate you, and we hope that people out there will watch this or will listen to this. The If More, Let's Divide. We are through.